what's your response to the news this morning?
My heart is heavy, but I've thought for a long time, is there really a great difference between Republicans and Democrats? Because I think for so long, both parties have bought into corporate power, and there really is not a care for the poor. And so I think the work is before us. You know, the sun comes up today, and the work will continue as we try to stand for peace and justice and humanity. If we think of Trump's presidency, the first time, he often said a lot of things and never carried through. Will he carry through on the deportation of thousands of immigrants in this country? I think is unknown at this time. I think the Democrats need to listen more to the people, to the poor, to the workers. An example was Bernie Sanders was not really used at all in campaigning. He went on his own and campaigned for Harris, but he wasn't used at all. And instead, Harris went around with Liz Cheney, a Republican whose father was a warmonger. And so I don't think that sets well at all with the Democratic Party. My hope is that people will not give up the fight, and that we will continue to try to get people, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whatever, that believe in humanity, that believe in a world of peace and justice, will work for legislation, and we can still get some things done for the people.
Of the evangelicals are Zionists.
Yeah.
She said,
I didn't expect him to win by that much of a margin and with that many more in the popular vote. So that was definitely surprising and kind of, again, just concerning as to what people are thinking and the philosophies people are holding out there. But I agree with Keish on the point of, I don't know in terms of our advocacy, whether if it's Palestine or peace work in general, if it changes a whole lot, because both parties, I mean, what could we see that was worse than the past 12 months? Warmongering by the Democrats all the way. So I think it's a part of me, while being very perturbed, disturbed about the outcome, had kind of like just this peace inside hearing that it was like, whatever the outcome, we got to keep going in this work, and we have to just keep pushing for something better. And I think keep thinking of the people in Gaza, keep thinking of the people in Lebanon, that they're depending on voices like ours to continue and not to be intimidated just because Trump won. So I hope that we can, not let them down and just keep the work going.
Yeah. Wouldn't have mattered if Harris had won today too. I mean, what would we be talking about? Same damn thing. That the Democratic Party had shown no inclination at all to change its policies, none at all. And that tiny little thing she threw at the very end of a little more compassion for the people of Palestine, well, that was bullshit. So we got to just keep after them. It's just frustrating as it can be, but I think what we all we didn't know who was going to win, but we knew what our challenges were going to be no matter who won. And with Trump in, at least we can hammer all the Republicans saying, it's your president now, and he said he wants peace in the Middle East. Of course, we don't know what that means, since one of the settlements is named for him, and he moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, and all this stuff that he's already done. So we really know where he is, but at least we can go into the Republicans and say, okay, now you're in charge, and you are now responsible for the genocide. You can't blame it on the Democrats anymore. It's your genocide now.
I am both shocked and numbed by the response. I didn't expect the extent of the outcome to be what it was, though I probably should have, because I think that what the Democrats did was spoke only from their point of view and didn't step enough across the line to find out what was really motivating Trump supporters. And you can't win an argument unless you step into the shoes of the person that you're opposing. And I don't think that the Democrats did that enough. No better example of Kamala's primary position was that you need to vote for me because Trump is so horrible. I don't know one Trump supporter that would respond to that. So I think that the Democrats need to heed that. I think we need to think about that in what we do.
And it directly affects our work because I feel like we are going to be targeted much more as peace activists. And at the same time, I'm also extremely aware that as far as US militarism and Palestine and all of that, that really these two parties are marginally different. They're really not much different at all. So the challenge that we face of countering US militarism is really not much different.
I think we need to go that route of building an independent party that includes all of the intersections and that has a platform that is at its core economic and then meets the needs of the other interests. What really scares me on the second front is that this week, maybe it was Sunday, I don't know, that the settlers are going nuts. You know, burning cars, burning houses, nobody checking them, and nobody will check them. And so, I mean, I just don't see any force that's going to slow that down, and in fact, it's going to speed up. And so how can Palestinians survive as a nationality, as a culture, as a people? I'm really afraid. And for me, the moral authority is with the churches at this point. They've got to come out and come out hard, because we've just proved that we Americans don't care about bullying or lying or changing facts. I mean, we're in a sad state of affairs, you know, a moral vacuum, and that has to be addressed. And UNRWA, I mean, what three trucks or something gets in a day? I mean, it really is ethnic cleansing, and the international community has to get aggressive, and I don't know how we organize internationally, but you know, there are signs. Their group was at 52 countries that have come out against arms sales and transfers. I don't know those people, but I feel like we need to build on that and encourage them to move their populations. Anyway.
I think there is new possibilities. I mean, you kind of laughed when Ahmed said, well, we hope those other liberals will come and join us. I don't think we laugh at that. I think that's exactly where we have to go, because our experience at that Women's March was quite extraordinary. They were all Kamala supporters, and they were all supporting us, saying, feminists stand with Palestine, Palestinian women. And, I had one. You had maybe what? A few. Okay, very few. And we got the crowd chanting with us. So, you know, that's just one example. And these were people who probably, most of them didn't do a thing the whole year while people were being slaughtered and starved. So those are people that are reachable. And not only them, I mean, there has been some intersectionality, certainly with Black Lives Matter kinds of movements and with environmentalists, but now there's an opportunity to have a lot more of that. And there's also the issue of, Anne brought up just war in general. And, you know, the war in Ukraine is a big issue. We haven't touched it for this whole year because of the issue of Gaza. But I think there's a chance now for us, and I hope we are peace activists, not just around Palestine, but in general, that there is a possibility there that Trump might do something to talk to Putin and Zelensky and find a way to negotiate a solution. And that would be quite extraordinary. And so we know there's big divisions within the Republican Party on this issue. If you look at who they're talking about as potential secretaries of state, some of them are people who have been against funding Ukraine, and some of them have been big supporters of Ukraine. So it's going to make a big difference who he picks. And I think so we have to recognize opportunities. I think the opportunity is also that there will be some of these Democrats who wouldn't come out with us who will suddenly say, oh, a genocide. I didn't quite really get it until now, and will come out for us.
I think we need to bring the advanced folks in labor, in the unions, who have the resources, and kind of seed the what would be the beginnings of a party. And it's a long haul, because it means identifying the right people, but then also encouraging people at the local level to start running for office.
I think from an international perspective, militarism, war all over, that's going to continue no matter who is president. That part doesn't change. What I do have a little fear and concern about, though, is us domestically. I do think the poor in this country are going to suffer far more under a Trump presidency. And we don't also know what he is going to do as it relates to fascism. What kind of things is he going to bring down upon us? I think we're going to continue the work. I think our role is not to talk about, well, she should have done this or they should have done that. Our role today is it's a new day, the sun is up, what are we going to do? And I would hope that in these next, however many weeks, months we have, that we could push folks to do more than what they're doing, whether it's joining Sanders or whatever. And then after, and I think it was Ralph this morning, Ann, that said it, is our role in Congress is very important when Trump becomes president, unless somehow he shuts us down, which he could. So.
And the other opportunity really is on the international front. And that's not what this group is focusing on, but you know, some of us have done a lot of work on international issues. And I think now we have a chance to pull together a lot of our friends in Europe and in other places who are scared of Trump and ready to kind of, you know, join us and be more vocal. And let's face it, many of them have been more successful than we have been at getting their governments to stop weapons sales, to push on the issue of trade with Israel.